pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tonight, we're going to recognize some award winners for the 2022 Winsted Pride Award recipients, and I believe we have Allison Dressler with us. So, we have the Winsted Dental at 591 Main Avenue West and Gary and Allison Dressel at 283 Westgate Terrace. And I will step over here and present him with an award. And we'll take a couple of pictures. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, you still got a pretty good grip.
My son makes me wear gloves.
Westgate Terrace. There's
Yeah. Take a-
Westgate, side roads.
I'll have to drive out if I see that.
Thank you for your efforts on your property maintenance.
All right, this evening's consent agenda consists of the following items. A, approve the minutes of the following City Council work session, August 2nd, 2022. City Council regular meeting, August 2nd, 2022. B, consider a motion to adopt Resolution R 22-29, authorizing the mayor and city administrator to execute a grant agreement for airport improvement excluding land acquisition with the Minnesota Department of Transportation, MnDOT, Office of Aeronautics, for state project number A4306-39 at the Winsted Municipal Airport for Tax Lane G construction. C, assign the following addresses for the cemeteries located in the city of Winsted. Winsted Public Cemetery, PID 21.055.1055 at 345 6th Street North. Second one is the Church of the Holy Trinity, PID 21-055-1050 at 325 6th Street North. And the last is the Church of the Holy Trinity at PID 21-055-1270 at 320 3rd Street North. D, appoint Mr. Justin Hodge to the position of volunteer firefighter with the Winsted Fire Department contingent upon passing a criminal background check and a drug and alcohol test. E, approve a conditional offer of employment and authorize the city administrator to execute an employment agreement with Mr. Robert Carlson for the position of part-time police officer with the Winsted Police Department contingent upon passing a criminal background check, psychological examination, and a drug and alcohol test. F, appoint Ms. Madison Feeke to the position of utility billing clerk for City of Winsted at Step 1, Grade 3 of the compensation plan through December 31st, 2023. G, claims. Above the approve the claims for a list of September 6, 2020. I need a motion as read.
Mr. Mayor, I'll motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. There's no public hearings this evening, and there's no old business. The first item under new business is a memorandum of understanding. Adam.
Sure. Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. What we have before us this evening is a memorandum of understanding between McLeod County Soil and Water Conservation District and the City of Winsted to construct a wetland on a city-owned parcel being PID number 210960230. Up on the screen here, you can see this PID. So it's this parcel right here, just north of Shady Creek Drive. What we are proposing within this memo of understanding is to construct a wetland, is what it's called, a wetland, but really, if you look at the pictures, it's ultimately a grassland area that will filter storm sewer water that comes from this inlet. So this inlet will drain the water into this wetland. The most the water will ever really be here in terms of depth is a few inches. And then ultimately, it will discharge the clean water after it filters out the nitrates and the phosphates, etc., into the creek here that runs along the north side of Shady Creek Drive, and ultimately into Winston Lake. Now, our water modeling shows that this will treat approximately 12 acres of discharge into the creek. I'm not certain exactly. I mean, I know it doesn't look like it's 12 acres, but that's what our water modeling shows through Bolton and Mink. And I know that is ultimately still a pretty small watershed in terms of the watershed that's discharged into Winston Lake, with our ultimate goal being of cleaning up all the discharge into Winston Lake to make that water quality, or to improve that water quality. But as it was presented to me, every improvement we make is certainly an improvement. So even though this may not have a huge impact in the short term, it's one step closer toward improving that water quality, and it's being done at a pretty reasonable price. Right now, the project cost is estimated to be approximately $96,000. McLeod County Soil and Water has received a grant for $50,000 to designate toward this project. As part of this memo of understanding, the city of Winston would lead the construction project and have final approval on the construction award bid. Understanding that the $50,000 of the grant would be allocated toward the project, and the city of Winston would be responsible for the $46,000, or approximately $46,000. Our $46,000 right now is being proposed to McLeod County, their ARPA committee, so the American Rescue Plan Act. McLeod County has some funds available through that, and they have a committee established to make recommendations to, or request toward, for funding. So this project certainly would be an eligible expense of those ARPA funds, and we have been in the process of making a request to the ARPA committee to consider funding our portion of this project. And I believe we have a pretty significant opportunity to receive those funds through the ARPA committee. But ultimately, understanding that we could potentially have a project cost of $46,000 here. With that being said, is there any additional questions for me regarding this memo of understanding, the project design, what the project will look like, etc.? Again, it will encompass this green dashed area within this parcel, and that boundary ultimately probably won't even be quite that wide. That's the widest it'll possibly get when it's at its wettest. When it's dry, it'll probably encompass even less of that.
It's grass that's in there, correct?
It's natural grasses that will be planted that filter this discharge of
Okay.
water.
Does that go along with our blight ordinance? Because people have to mow their lawns at a certain, can only get so long, and we'll have city property. And just looking at the pictures,
Right.
it's going to be more than 12 inches.
It certainly will be. Now, that blight ordinance is specific to residential lawns. This is, similar to our rain garden here, that's not 12 inches, or that's a lot.
No, but this is going to be a significant area. I mean, is
Right.
that something we want to?
Our blight ordinance wouldn't cover, these type of grasses aren't addressed in our blight lawn ordinance. This would be similar to the rain garden right here. Along the promenade, we have this rain garden planted. Those grasses are all significantly higher for filtering the water. That's the type of grasses that we planted here.
Okay.
Not impacted by our blight ordinance or our lawn maintenance ordinance.
I'm not against them.
Right, no,
If we got to
right, it'd be-
change some in our ordinance, we should
Right.
be looking at.
I don't think we do. I think that's not the intent of the ordinance. And people don't have these same type of filtering grasses in their yard. When people aren't mowing their yards and it gets to be a blight situation, it's true because they're not mowing their yards, not because they're doing these natural grasses. And if they have the natural grasses, then in their garden stuff, then we allow for that.
Two questions. My understanding is the homeowners in the area are notified and had
Yeah.
attended a meeting.
Yes, we had a meeting on site with our engineers in McLeod County Soil and Water Conservation District. Now, once we get further in the design process, once we have the project significantly designed, then we will bring it back to them just to make them aware of what the design will look like.
Any thoughts on estimated timing?
We're looking for construction to be completed in 2023.
Okay.
They're not looking at a very long construction period and really making very minimal impacts to the area. It would be essentially just regrading that area and then seeding it in.
Looks to me like it would enhance it.
Yeah, and that's the way it's being presented to me as well. It's really an enhancement to the area, especially if you're down there looking at its current state. It's certainly not well maintained as a parkland by any mean. You know, it's not nice, Kentucky boots. So it'll remove some of the maintenance that is currently being done there as well.
Any other questions?
Mr. Mayor, I'll motion to authorize the mayor and city administrator to execute a memorandum of understanding between the Soil and Water Conservation District of McLeod County and the city of Winsted for the construction of natural resources conservation service 656 wetland on city of Winsted, parcel number 21.096.0230.
I need a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have
Motion.
one question pertaining to that.
Sure,
Should have had it before, but
that's okay.
if the people that, like 620, 622, and 624, where they're more adjacent to this, if they want to put up a fence, if there are critters in there, and keep them off of their property, are they allowed to do that?
Absolutely, they're allowed, per our fence ordinance, they can have a fence up to 6 feet through a zoning permit. Over 6 feet, it takes a building permit.
Okay.
Did I have a second?
Yes.
Motion
Okay.
is called already.
All right. Here we go. Next item under new business is a computer incident response plan. Adam.
Sure. Our technology consultants, being CIT, has recommended that we implement a computer incident response plan. Our deputy clerk, Amanda Zeiler, has taken the lead on this, so she is here to present this evening regarding the proposed plan. Ms. Zeiler?
Thank you, Mayor and City Council members. So this plan is similar to an emergency response plan that we would set up for any emergencies or natural disasters that would be happening in the Winsted area. This is specific to computer incidents, which may include things like unauthorized use or attempts to access data that the city has, phishing attacks, malware attacks, anything related to our website or internet service, and then our emails as well, which a lot of you are aware of and have seen and heard those items that we've had to be careful of and we've had to watch out for. This kind of an incident can result in actual or potential risk to the confidentiality, the integrity, or the availability of our information systems and processes. So we've seen a lot in the news where there's been large-scale incidents. This could be entailing that, or it could be something very simple like an email attack that there's phishing, somebody clicks on the wrong link, and we need to deal with that to protect our data and our information. Like Adam said, we've been working with CIT, our IT vendor, to plan and to make this plan. And there are several pieces that we'll be working with the department heads and with Adam as the city administrator to define as far as what roles they'll play if this would come to a head at any point and we would have an incident within the city of Winsted. So we'll get that. This is meant to be a living document, so it is something that should be reviewed at least annually and updated as needed for contacts or for who we are working with. including our insurance company, and anytime there's any changes involved as well. And CIT will take the lead, so they'll prompt that review every year as well. And is, of course, if there's any kind of a national incident or international incident, things that would really affect us that they're aware of in their training and what they're doing, they would send that back to us to update our plan as well. So we would probably be doing that in-house at a staff level unless there was a major change that would be affected and need council approval for that as well. Once the plan is adopted by the city council, again, we'll have that review, we'll have that document in print in case anything would happen that we wouldn't be able to access our data. And everybody who would be listed as contacts, including our city attorney, I mentioned our insurance agents, council, if you're involved at all, everybody would have a copy of that available to them so that they can grab that if there would be an incident. So are there any questions from the council?
This includes the police department as well?
It will, it'll affect and include every department at some level,
Okay.
depending on the security, because the FBI would be involved if there would be an incident as well, and we would utilize their services for that as well because they deal with that.
Okay.
Have the city had any type of issues so far?
Not anything like this. No, not to this extent at all. I mean, other than just reminding people don't click on certain links, but nothing that's resulted in any kind of an incident that we've had to deal with or react to. And the good thing about this plan too is it's not just about how we're going to react to it while it's happening and how we're going to deal with it and move forward, but it's also got good checklists and good information that we can utilize to change and be prepared for a future incident where it forces us to look at what happened, how we dealt with it, how we're going to do this differently in the future. So I think that's a really proactive way to be involved with computer incidents.
And I might add, and being proactive with this and having these type of policies, this also does positively impact our insurance rates. This is getting to be a big item with the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust on these type of incidents and being prepared for them and having policies in place to react to them and protect against them. So we anticipate a positive impact to our insurance rate by being prepared accordingly.
Any further questions? If not, I'll look for a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt a computer incident response plan for the city of Winston.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next item is our department report from the building inspector, and it's Scott.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thanks for the opportunity to stop by.
You can sit down.
As soon as I hand out the little sheet that I got here.
Thank you.
So
Thank
this
you.
is a summary, I guess, of partial data. So I'm not sure
Thank
how
you.
informative it is, and I'll explain why that's that when I see it. So, thanks for the opportunity to be here. What I would like to get out of our discussion tonight is how often you want to see me and what you want me to talk about when I come.
2 minutes.
Last time I was 2 minutes. Writing that down. Last time I was here, it was prior to the contract being executed or at the time the contract was executed, and it's been quiet. I'm a no news is good news kind of
Yeah.
guy. My interface is with Adam, and if Adam has problems, he'll let me know, or if you hopefully have problems, Adam will let
Right.
me know. But short of that, I don't want to annoy you with, on a beautiful September evening with half hours worth of stuff that you don't want to hear about anyway. So I'd like to get some kind of guideline from you. Do you want me to come a couple times a year? Check
City Council, if you don't mind, I'll just start answering that question. You can interject however you need to. But we have you scheduled to come annually, once a year.
Okay.
You'll get that at the first of the year. We'll send it to your staff and say, this is when you're scheduled to present to the City Council. It'll always be around this time frame.
Okay, perfect.
And it's nice to hear if there's any new code updates that they should be aware of, or residents should be aware of, major code updates,
Sure.
not minor stuff. And it looks like the information we have in front of us is great. How many building permits have we issued and what some of those numbers look like, et cetera.
Yep.
I think you're on the right track.
Great. So the reason I said this is a partial summary is that we, as you might remember, Minspect was acquired by a company called Safe Built in August of last year. And I'm pretty sure we talked about that last time I was here. And they have a really great computer system that we've been working on for the last year to integrate into. and you were never in our old system, but we were manually managing your data in a, we'll call it a spreadsheet for lack of a better term, in a workbook. And that got ported on May 3rd. So the data that I have from the Community Core software is really only most of what happened since May 3rd till now. And like if you look on the first column, I think there's a $1.2 million residential new construction job here, but there's no fee information there because that would have been in the very early part of May when it wasn't in the Community Core scenario. I do have 3 pages of boring details on every permit that's here, so I can, go through that. I don't want to, and you shouldn't want me to either. But if there's some question that I need to answer about that, I have that kind of information at that level. But the summary report just isn't kind of what we'd like it to be in terms of reaching all the way back to when we started in January. I guess I'll put it that way. So it's a part year, partial look, and going forward it will be accurate quarterly or however you want to look at it. And that's all available. These reports are all available to staff anytime they want to run them. So given what Adam has advised in terms of kind of code updates and summary data, I could share with you that the plumbing code has come out in the last year or so, 2020 actually, but it was late, very late in the year, and they've eliminated the need to put a air gap on a dishwasher, which came in the 2015 code and then went away. It was one of those things where I think we shouldn't do that. We should either leave it out or take it in and leave it in, but don't do the in-out thing because it's just confusing. But if you have a dishwasher in the 2015 through the 2020 time frame, you'd have to have a little device sitting on your countertop that would allow the air from the water from the dishwasher discharge to go through that and then go down into a drain pipe that would run to your drain down below, and that would possibly prevent the opportunity for cross-contamination. And I have an opinion about that. There's already the dishwasher and washing machines, all appliances are already built with those air gaps in them. So in an ice maker, the water comes down a little chute in the back and ends up filling up the tray in the back, and your washing machine fills from the top through the detergent dispenser so that if it overflows, it's going to flow on the floor before it could ever backflow and cause a problem. And dishwashers are the same way. Their water inlet is well above the bottom of the door. So it's just, it already wasn't a problem, but there's a pump involved that could possibly run backwards and cause trouble or whatever. I don't believe it was ever an issue, and that apparently the plumbing code has determined that that's also the case, that it's important for us to have that discharge pipe run up as high as possible underneath the countertop, but not come through the countertop anymore and then go back down, so that we've got kind of a trap built into that. That's the idea. Works for me. So anyway, we had a 5-year period where we were making people put them up there, and they'd get plugged up and they'd spill water on the counter and all kinds of trouble, and they've now made that go away. So that's about the only thing that's going on with the code. Sure.
In each category, you have number of inspections and then number passed, which is lower. What are some of the things that make it not pass?
So on residential alterations and miscellaneous residential, I believe miscellaneous residential is probably re-roofs primarily, and it would be that the photos either weren't revealing of the information that we needed to see. They didn't take good pictures. It's possible that the pictures didn't actually show the roof in question. That's happened to us before. They put the wrong set of pictures in, whether that was on purpose or not, or that we couldn't really tell what house it was because of the way they took the pictures. There wasn't any information there, or it could be that there were either violations of the code for roofing or siding. That's probably what most of those third column items are. As far as the residential alteration, addition, or remodel, decks potentially would fit into that as well. I'd have to look to actually find out what they were about, because I don't think there's a common thread through those. But typically on the residential miscellaneous, it's going to be photos on re-roofs or violations on re-roofs.
If there's a company that you consistently have violations with, what do you do?
So if we, there are kind of two opportunities for that. One is that they aren't calling for final inspections, and we'll just turn them into the state for not doing their job. Any roofing crew can make a mistake, and if they do it over and over and over again, potentially we would have a conversation with the contractor and say, what gives? How come you're never doing ice and water right? Or how come you're never doing whatever right? But if it's ice and water one time and it's shingle installation another time and something else another time, we may not even put two and two together because different inspectors, potentially different crews, different issues, probably not something that's going to lead us to a common thread that would take us to some kind of a request for action from the licensing division.
Okay.
We order them to correct it, they fix it, we come out and re-inspect it, and that's the end of it, is normally how that would go.
Okay.
I have a couple of items just to note too. I like the line item when you show average days in review. I appreciate how quickly we've been getting things turned around, so I think that's really important data. Also a comment regarding the community core software. That's fantastic. I mean, very, very informative at the staff level as we monitor the permits as it goes through, as it keeps me in line of what I have to sign off on prior to you even starting review in terms of planning and zoning review.
Sure.
Again, it's been a fantastic software and help us as a staff be much more efficient in making sure these permits process accordingly. So I think we've had a very efficient process in place right now.
I really appreciate that feedback. We've had some challenges with the planner in Watertown he's got his own company and he does planning for Watertown, but he's also the city administrator in Independence. And sometimes those emails will get to him and they don't get answered, and a month later someone's calling, where's my permit? And it turns out that he didn't hit the review's okay button or whatever. But the fact that Adam is embracing this and making sure that we stay on track and try and get things through efficiently.
Right.
It's really nice to have that feedback that the software is doing a good job of what it does, because it was really a fundamental part of the reason why I
Right.
chose the community core and the Safe Built partnership, was because of what it brought to the table.
Have you had any issues with our staff?
No, not at all.
Good.
We have a great working relationship.
Good. Now, there's been a little bit of change in our staff, whatnot, and we'll be training a new staff member and some of that communication with you, et cetera. But
Sure, and anytime you're ready for us to have someone come out and do some of that.
you've already had your staff
already
member
done
out.
it.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. So we're already well on the way for that. So thank you again.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else? Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here, always here if you need me. I think I gave you business cards at the very outset if you ever need anything. If there's a storm on a weekend and Adam's not around or not available, you can call me. If there's a reason for me to be here, I'll be here. So if we have a tornado that comes through or a high wind event or something, I don't need to come for hail. It's just the contractors are going to mop that up later. But if there's something that's happened and you think I need to know, feel free to give me a call.
Lastly, I do really appreciate your efforts and your staff's efforts in the rental ordinance stuff we've been going through and just getting those rental inspections completed. Again, it's gone very smoothly.
Good.
And since we made the transition, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Tracy Ryman is an excellent inspector, and he does a great job with the rental and we call him, he's the manager of our specialty inspections group, and that includes the rental and blight ordinance stuff and other things that he does for other communities. And so he takes care of the rentals here in Winstead, and I'm glad it's going smoothly. It's good feedback. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us, and I'm pleased to be here and happy to be helping serve the community.
Thank you.
Well, we've come to the open forum, and I do not see anybody out there that wants to come out and challenge us, so we'll move on to Adam.
Sure. Just two quick announcements, or really one announcement. We have two public hearings scheduled on September 12th within our Planning and Zoning Commission. One is in regards to a variance on a garage construction project. The second one is regarding a home addition and a home remodeling in terms of what the setback is on that home from the front property line. I would say neither one of them are necessarily major issues, but certainly a variance is required to proceed if the Plan Commission ultimately makes that determination. So again, two public hearings on Monday, September 12th at the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. That meeting starts at 6 p.m. Otherwise, at this time, it is likely that the Park Commission will be rescheduled or canceled due to lack of business right now. That meeting was previously scheduled for 5 p.m. that same evening. With that being said, that is all that I have this evening.
Commission,
Sure.
you got openings yet?
Yes, we still do have, thank you, Mr. Stockwell, for reminding me. We still do have multiple openings as advertised on our website within our commissions. One within the Park Commission, one within the Planning Commission, one within the EDA, and one opening within our Airport Commission as well. So we're looking for 4 commission members at this point. One person can potentially fill multiple positions if they would so choose to do so. It's a great opportunity for someone who wants to get involved in local government and in that process of local government. It's a great first step into getting involved in local government. So I encourage anybody that has those aspirations to ultimately maybe someday sit on a city council or within a mayor position to first explore being a part of a commission.
Anything else, ladies and gentlemen?
Nope, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.